Speaking out, allegations are flying thick and fast. It all began on a fiery note when Gaurav Gogoi of the Congress party decided to move that motion. He spoke about Manipur. The opposition says this no confidence motion has nothing to do with the numbers because the numbers are in the favor of the government. This is to force the government's hand, to force the Prime Minister's hand as far as speaking on Manipur issue is concerned. And that really is what has dominated the opposition's narrative as far as this entire proceedings go. To which we've seen several members of the BJP, even Union Minister Kiran Rijiju now just about take on the Congress party, just about take on the opposition, a united front at that, as they're putting in the parliament on what exactly this means. Allegations have been flying thick and fast. We've also seen the kind of pointed attacks that have come to the fore against the first family of the Congress as well, that we did see when Nishikant Dubey of the BJP spoke right after Gaurav Gogoi earlier today. That exchange happening inside the parliament. The proceedings are still on. We are going to be seeing several other speakers speak out as well. Let's get you some of those reactions of what's transpired inside the parliament. We'll try and get you more details of what's happening inside Parliament even as we speak, but let's get you a few numbers as far as what the strength on the floor of the Lok Sabha really is going to be like. This is what it looks like. The numbers are in the government's favor, like I said, which is also what the opposition has been talking about, that this is not about numbers, because look at the strength in the Lok Sabha. The halfway mark is at 272. That is what the government needs to pass this to overcome this hurdle of the no confidence motion. The numbers are with the government. It's at 365. The BJP alone has 301 members of parliament. The Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena 13, RLJP 5, BJD and YSRCP, remember, are not part of the NDA, but they have said that they are going to be supporting the government on this. There are several other members of parliament that are with the government as well, bringing their tally to 365. On the other side is the opposition, the India Alliance as they call themselves. The Congress has 51. The DMK 24, TMC 23, there are several others, but their tally only comes up to 141. Now, there are 32 members of parliament of parties that are believed to be fence-sitters at the moment. They haven't decided which way they're going to vote. Irrespective, though, the numbers is not really an issue for the Modi government. Remember, in 2018 as well, the Modi government did have to undergo similar proceedings. A 91-minute speech is what came to the fore from the Prime Minister back then. He is confident that this time around there is going to be a larger margin given the strength of sheer numbers. Pallavi, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details even as those proceedings continue to take place in the Lok Sabha. Now, Pallavi, the numbers are definitely with the government. The opposition knows that. The only reason why they want this discussion to happen is to force the Prime Minister's hand as far as speaking out on Manipur is concerned.
That's right. In fact, Gaurav Gogoi began his discussion on the no confidence motion because he was the one who had initiated it by saying that it was not ever about numbers, it's more about giving justice to the people of Manipur. So that is as far as the issue goes. See, the opposition parties have been very clear about the fact that they just don't have the numbers. The edge will remain with the government, and because they have a brute majority as far as Lok Sabha goes. But at the end of the day, what has been the political strategy? There has been much thinking, much mulling, and finally the opposition parties, that's the India front opposition, came out with the idea of actually having a no confidence motion put forward. What essentially they wanted to do were two things. One, they thought that a no confidence motion means that the Prime Minister will be forced to enter Lok Sabha and be there during the duration of the debate and discussion. And second, the fact that the Prime Minister has not spoken out on a Manipur issue inside the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, he will have to do this when he has to respond to a no confidence motion, which he is likely to do so on the 10th at around 4 p.m.
Right, we've also yet to see some of the top ministers speak out inside the parliament, Pallavi, isn't it? We had the list of BJP speakers. Several of them have already spoken, but Nirmala Sitharaman, Smriti Irani were among the top ministers who were going to respond in the Lok Sabha. Are we expecting that today itself, or are we going to be seeing that on day 2 tomorrow?
Well, I mean, there's no clarity on that yet, but there's quite a possibility that most of these high-profile leaders will actually speak tomorrow. But the interesting tidbit is that the first list which was circulated by the Congress party on the top was, of course, Rahul Gandhi. He was expected to initiate the discussion on the no confidence motion. In fact, if you notice, the Congress party was since early morning actually giving up the YouTube link for Rahul Gandhi's talk. Also on, putting up the caricatures campaigns to say that here he's about to arrive. arrive at any time now. Last minute, Rahul Gandhi's name was scratched out because he himself decided that I will speak only when the Prime Minister is in the house. So there's a possibility he speaks tomorrow or day after. Tomorrow, of course, he's going to go to Rajasthan for a pre-scheduled campaign rally. So there's a possibility then he speaks on 10th. But 10th is also a day when the Prime Minister is going to speak at around 4 p.m.
Right, we had seen an interesting exchange between the Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi back in 2018. Arunima also joining us here on this broadcast that the winks that were exchanged, the hugs that were exchanged back in 2018, that's a moment perhaps we could be seeing if Rahul Gandhi and the Prime Minister are going to be in the Parliament at the same time around. But like Pallavi was mentioning, that tomorrow he is going to be in Rajasthan, is day after the day that the Rahul Gandhi chooses to speak right before the Prime Minister. That is something that we'll have to wait and watch out for. We'll try and reconnect that line with my colleague Arunima. Pallavi continues to be with us. But let's get you some political reactions that are now coming in. The exchange that has taken place for hours together now in the Lok Sabha.
Subha, sir, 10:50, 11:55 इनका चिट्ठी आया है सर. अभी 12 बजे चेंज हो गया. क्या हो गया थोड़ा हमको भी समझ में आया सर. यही हमारा रिक्वेस्ट. लेट मी अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट हैज हैपेंड सर. So he just at 11:55 he has given a letter that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is going to speak. What happened in 5 minutes? What is the problem, sir? We are very much enthusiastic to listen Mr. Rahul Gandhi, sir. प्रधानमंत्री को बोलो तो
हाउस को ऑर्डर में ले. अगर क्या हो रहा है, क्या दरखास्त दी गई है, आप खुद ही, आप इस सदन के रक्षक हैं. आपके दफ्तर के अंदर क्या बातचीत हुई है? क्या हम बताएं कि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने आपके दफ्तर के अंदर क्या क्या बातें की हैं? हम नहीं कहते. कोविड के समय
चाहिए माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, बताना चाहिए. बताइए. एक गंभीर आरोप है माननीय अध्यक्ष जी. बताइए. सर, प्रधानमंत्री जी का लेंगे आप. प्रधानमंत्री जी का नाम लेते हुए और शहर का नाम लेते हुए ऐसा अनाप शनाप आरोप नहीं लगा सकते. वो उनको बताना चाहिए.
दफ्तर में जो बात हम आपके विश्वास में रखते हैं और आप जो बात हमें कहते हैं उसकी भी विश्वसनीयता हम बचा के रखते हैं.
Arunima, my colleague, now joining us here on this broadcast, getting us the latest. Arunima, those proceedings are still on inside the Lok Sabha. They're perhaps going to go on till about 7 p.m. later tonight. Do we have the list of speakers that are going to be speaking today, or do we have to wait and watch as to who the top ministers are going to be and whether they speak today or tomorrow?
Yes, the list has been drawn up as to who will speak on behalf of the opposition and who will speak on behalf of the government. The latest that we saw was an intervention from Kiran Rijiju. He was the former law minister. He is the current minister for earth sciences and the northeast face, so to say, of the Bharatiya Janata Party. So even as the opposition wants to keep the focus on Manipur, the BJP thought is pertinent that its northeast face must intervene. And Kiran Rijiju did stand up and he was, listing all that the government has done for the northeastern region. Not making any specific mention of Manipur, but really laying out all the developmental projects and infrastructural projects that have been done by the government. Nirmala Sitharaman, Smriti Irani, two top women ministers. Also because Manipur, when the opposition, the front that calls itself the India Front, visited Manipur, the focus was also on the atrocities that women and children were facing there, the situation in the camp there. So even as the focus is being kept on women, and a lot of speakers are speaking about Manipur and the kind of torture that women have faced, BJP wants Nirmala Sitharaman and Smriti Irani to lead the fight there. But the biggest of them all will be the intervention from Home Minister Amit Shah himself. He has taken it upon himself, and this is what the government is saying from day one, that Amit Shah will rebut all allegations that are being made vis-a-vis Manipur. Whether Rahul Gandhi speaks or not, that will also something that BJP is waiting and watching. You heard in that interaction that we just played out between Gaurav Gogoi and Prahlad Joshi, in which Home Minister Amit Shah also intervened The charge there being, why is Rahul Gandhi not speaking? So BJP ideally would have wanted Rahul Gandhi to speak so that they can rebut him much before the Prime Minister takes the centre stage. But Rahul is keeping everybody's, in the guessing game. The suspense is still brewing. So BJP is also taking it one step at a time.
One step at a time is the strategy. The focus of the opposition is going to be on Manipur, and that's really something that the Congress has been speaking of. Jairam Ramesh spoke about it just a short while ago. That's also something that the TMC wants to put focus on. Remember, it's not just the Lok Sabha where we saw the kind of heated exchange that took place. It was also the Rajya Sabha, which is something that came up when the TMC has now taken to Twitter. Let me now take you through a TMC tweet that has come to the fore. This is what the TMC has said. We did not bend. They did not suspend. This is in connection with Derek O'Brien's motion of suspension that was moved by Piyush Goyal earlier in the day. The suspension did not happen. The TMC then goes on to say that Derek O'Brien stands strong, undeterred by the BJP's authoritarian attempts to silence dissenting voices. We will continue to fight until justice is served to Manipur. Our commitment to people's rights will remain unwavering. That's the tweet coming to the fore from the TMC. So the opposition as a whole keeping the focus on Manipur, and that's really what their strategy is going to be every time a speaker from the opposition ranks gets up in the next 2 days to talk during this particular no confidence motion proceedings. Let's cut across and see what's happening in the Lok Sabha, what has transpired over the last few hours.
मैं ये सोच रहा था कि राहुल जी बोलेंगे क्योंकि मीडिया में तरह तरह की खबरें आ रही थी, लेकिन लगता है कि शायद राहुल जी आज तैयार नहीं थे, देर से उठे होंगे तो नहीं बोल पाए। कोई बात नहीं है, गौरव गोगोई जी ने बोला, बहुत अच्छा बोला। सोनिया जी का मैं बड़ा सम्मान करता हूं सर। सोनिया जी, मुझे जो लगता है कि उनके पार्टी की उनकी दो मनस्थिति है। वो एक हिंदू सभ्यता संस्कृति में बिलीव कर रही हैं, इसीलिए अलौकिका पंडिता की तरह जो पूरा किताब में लिखा हुआ है कि क्या क्या करना चाहिए एक भारतीय नारी को, उसका पूरा का पूरा पिक्चर सोनिया जी देती है। उनको दो काम करना है, बेटे को सेट करना है और दामाद को भेंट करना है।
It's the attitude of this government is hubris, there is no other word. And why are we feeling? जैसे 9 रत्न, इनको बड़ा शौक है ऐसा बोलने का. So 9 रत्न 9 साल, because they had this big campaign, all the ministers were sent all over the country to talk about the new 9 points. In 9 years, the achievements, in short I'll say, what is in 9 years the great achievements of this government? Is state governments toppled by the BJP? Is this fair democracy? Price rise, महंगाई बहुत हो गई, महंगाई की मार अब की बार शायद सबको याद होगा। एलपीजी की प्राइस, कर्नाटक इलेक्शन ने दिखा दिया एलपीजी का क्या होता है फिर। इंस्टीट्यूट ब्रोकन, हाउ मेनी इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैव बीन ब्रोकन? जुमले पे जुमला। आई लाइक अमित शाह जी, सच बोलते हैं आपकी बात साइड से बहुत कम। ये वो या गडकरी साहब बोले थे कि ये जुमला ये गले की हड्डी हो गया, ना नीचे जा रही है ना बाहर आ रही है। दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम। इंडेक्सेस विच हैव शोन वेयर ग्लोबली इंडिया हैज फॉलन। एंटी फेडरल कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म का तो बोल बोल के हम थक गए। Indicators of the economy, which I will be coming to in 2 minutes, and law and order, which is alarming in Manipur, Haryana, J&K, and 1 or 2 cases of Maharashtra.
Breaking news now coming in even as the proceedings in Rajya Sabha happen. Rahul Gandhi is now readying for another battle, and this is his Mohabbat ki dukaan as they've been speaking of. So let's get you the latest that's coming in as far as that is concerned. And the second leg of Bharat Jodo Yatra of Rahul Gandhi is going to get underway. But cutting back across to the Lok Sabha, I believe Congress MP Manish Tiwari is now speaking.
दूसरा आर्थिक विकास, तीसरा सांप्रदायिक सद्भाव, चौथा संस्थाओं की स्वायत्ता, और पांचवा जो आपके कूटनीति रहती है या अंतर्राष्ट्रीय रिश्ते रहते हैं। और ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है कि इन पांचों बिंदुओं के ऊपर पिछले 9 वर्ष में ये सरकार पूरी तरह से विफल रही है, क्योंकि ये अविश्वास प्रस्ताव मणिपुर को केंद्रित करते हुए इस सदन के समक्ष रखा गया है। इसलिए मैं जो मणिपुर की सामरिक संवेदनशीलता है उसको मुख्य रखते हुए अपनी बात इस सदन में रखना चाहता हूं। सभापति महोदय, जब हमारे इस गणराज्य की संरचना हो रही थी तो जो सरहद के राज्य थे, उन सरहद के राज्यों को भारत के साथ और मजबूत तरीके से और संगठित तरीके से जोड़ने के लिए संविधान में विशेष प्रावधान किए गए थे। धारा 370 जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए, धारा 371 ए नागालैंड के लिए, धारा 371 बी असम के लिए, धारा 371 सी मणिपुर के लिए, धारा 371 एफ सिक्किम के लिए, धारा 371 जी मिजोरम के लिए और धारा 371 एच अरुणाचल प्रदेश के लिए। और क्योंकि मणिपुर एक तरफ म्यांमार लगता है, दूसरी तरफ नागालैंड, असम, मिजोरम के राज्य लगते हैं, तो इसलिए जब भी उत्तर पूर्व के किसी राज्य में जब वहां पे सामाजिक उथल पुथल होती है, जब वहां की अस्थिरता भंग होती है, तो सिर्फ जो असर है वो सिर्फ उस राज्य पे नहीं पड़ता, पूरे उत्तर पूर्व के ऊपर पड़ता है। और इसका सीधा सीधा परिणाम ये है, इसका सीधा सीधा उदाहरण ये है कि मणिपुर में जो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटनाएं हुई हैं और जो आज भी चल रही हैं, उसके कारण मिजोरम में आह्वान किया गया कि जो मणिपुर के मूल निवासी हैं वो वहां से चले जाएं। नागालैंड से भी कुछ गड़बड़ियों की खबर आई। मेरा कहने का तात्पर्य यह है कि जब भी मणिपुर में, और इसलिए हम ये अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेके आए हैं कि उत्तर पूर्व के जब किसी भी राज्य में कोई गड़बड़ी होती है तो उसका बहुत ही नकारात्मक असर पूरे उत्तर पूर्व के ऊपर और भारत के ऊपर पड़ता है। सभापति महोदय, आपको याद होगा कि इसी सदन में आज से 4 वर्ष पहले धारा 370 को धाराशाही किया गया था और आज 4 वर्ष हो गए, आपने एक प्रदेश को अवैध तरीके से तोड़कर 2 केंद्र शासित राज्य बनाए और उच्चतम न्यायालय में उसकी बहस चल रही है। उच्चतम न्यायालय में उसकी बहस चल रही है। अभी आज उच्चतम न्यायालय में उसकी बहस चल रही है। देखिए, मैंने किसी की बात में व्यवधान नहीं डाला है। सभापति महोदय, इनको बोलिए जरा धीरज रखें, सुनने की क्षमता रखें। तो मैं सभापति महोदय ये कह रहा था कि 4 वर्ष पहले 370 को धाराशाही किया गया और आज तक 4 वर्ष में उस प्रदेश में चुनाव नहीं हुए हैं। उस प्रदेश में अभी तक जो इस सदन में वायदा किया गया था कि पूर्ण राज्य का दर्जा दोबारा दिया जाएगा, वो पूर्ण राज्य का दर्जा दोबारा नहीं दिया गया। मैं ये बात इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि जब आप संविधान की धाराओं के साथ छेड़छाड़ करते हैं तो उसका बहुत दूरगामी परिणाम पड़ता है और इसीलिए सभापति महोदय डॉक्टर फारूक अब्दुल्ला और मैं आज उच्चतम न्यायालय में थे और जम्मू कश्मीर के ऊपर उच्चतम न्यायालय में बहस चल रही है।
वो ये कहता है कि जुडिशियल ऑर्डर जो उसका पेंडिंग है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बेंच 370 को देख रही है सर, उसके बारे में ये यहाँ से जो है अपना ये दे रहे हैं, उसको हटा दिया जाए सर।
मैंने सभापति महोदय ये कौन बोल रहे हैं जिन्होंने कभी रूल्स ऑफ प्रोसीजर्स की इज्जत नहीं की? अरे वो व्यक्ति बोल रहे हैं। क्या नेशनल हेराल्ड सब जुडिस नहीं है? नेशनल हेराल्ड सब जुडिस नहीं है? अरे तो निशिकांत जी, इतना भी हुआ तो उत्तेजित होइए।
Manish ji, the rules that have been cited, just वही कह रहे हैं। Honorable member had just now mentioned about the rules 352(1), where it is clearly stated something which is pending in the court of law should not be referred to in the house. No, I am just reminding. You don't have to advocate for him. You don't have to advocate for him. He's a knowledgeable person, he understands. Please sit down. He's a yes, Manish ji. Please Manish ji.
भारत में हो रहा उसका जिक्र नहीं कर रहा, जो इस सदन में हुआ है उसका जिक्र कर रहा हूं, मैं उसका जिक्र कर रहा हूं। सभापति महोदय, मैंने जम्मू कश्मीर का जिक्र इस संदर्भ में किया था कि जब आप संविधान की धाराओं के साथ छेड़छाड़ करते हैं तो उसका बहुत ही नकारात्मक और दूरगामी परिणाम निकलता है। मैंने इससे पहले यह बात कही कि मणिपुर के साथ म्यांमार की सरहद लगती है और दशकों से जो उत्तर पूर्व के अलगाववादी हैं वो म्यांमार में शरण लेते रहे हैं और म्यांमार का जो जुंटा है उसके जो रिश्ते हैं चीन के साथ वो पूरी तरह से जग जाहिर है और पूरी दुनिया उनके बारे में जानती है। और इसलिए जब भी उत्तर पूर्व में किसी तरह की कोई अस्थिरता होती है तो उसका असर सिर्फ देश में ही नहीं पड़ता, उसका असर जो भारत की राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा है उसके ऊपर भी पड़ता है। और इसी संदर्भ में मैं चीन के बारे में जिक्र करना चाहूंगा। वर्ष 2020 में अप्रैल
Congress's Manish Tiwari there in a pointed attack on the government, raking up several decisions that the central government has taken so far. The debate in the Lok Sabha continues and we'll keep a track of that here on CNN News 18 for you. That and much more on the other side of a quick break. Coming back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
India's #1 news channel moves to a new destination. A never-seen-before news ecosystem in the history of India.
An unrivaled news studio that elevates the viewer experience. Unprecedented camera views
From a spectacular newsroom.
one-of-a-kind studio pods that takes you to an unseen digiverse.
A marvelous news station that echoes
Aspirations of New India. Get ready to be stunned by Asia's biggest news television station. CNN News 18 is here to back a power punch. CNN News 18 is here to alter your digi perspective.
CNN News 18 is here to revolutionize newscast. CNN News 18 is here now and for the future. CNN News 18, Asia's biggest news TV station.
एक मिनट माननीय सदस्य प्लीज बैठिए, प्लीज बैठिए, बैठिए। नो कॉन्फिडेंस में चर्चा नहीं करना चाहते आप? बैठिए, मैं बताता हूं आपको। माननीय सदस्यगण, अब प्लीज माननीय सदस्यगण, आपको पता है कि लोकसभा और राज्यसभा टीवी को मिलाकर संसद टीवी कर दिया है, ठीक है ना? एक मिनट, पहले संसद टीवी नहीं था तो लोकसभा लाइव होता था और राज्यसभा अलग से लाइव होता था। आपने कोई विशेष ध्यान में डाला है, मैं उसको संज्ञान में लूंगा। आप एक मिनट, अधीर रंजन प्लीज, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट। प्लीज, मैंने व्यवस्था दे दी है। बंद हो गया सर, बंद हो गया।
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
शुरू हो गया। सीट पे जाओ।
सर आपकी इजाजत हो तो मैं यहां से बोलना चाहता हूं सर। अध्यक्ष महोदय, मुझे लगता था कि अविश्वास प्रस्ताव पर राहुल जी बोलेंगे, कांग्रेस के मित्र बोलेंगे और कोई बहुत बड़ा विषय होगा जिसके आधार पर कि रूल्स का फायदा उठाते हुए।
माननीय सदस्य ने पूरी बात कही है, ऐसे नहीं चलेगा। प्लीज बैठिए।
इसके बाद राहुल जी भी नहीं बोल पाएंगे और कोई अपोजिशन का आदमी नहीं बोल पाएगा। मैंने धैर्यपूर्वक सुना है, आप मुझे धैर्यपूर्वक सुनिए।
निशिकांत जी।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, अध्यक्ष महोदय, फिर ये नहीं चलेगा हाउस। यदि वो हल्ला करेंगे ये हाउस नहीं चलेगा, ये हाउस नहीं चलेगा, ये हाउस नहीं चलेगा।
एक मिनट, प्लीज, एक मिनट, प्लीज, 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 आपको मैंने अलाउ नहीं किया है। प्लीज, माननीय सदस्यगण।
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. Let's now get you another issue that has raked up a big controversy and it echoed in Parliament for its second day as well today. It was BJP's Nishikant Dubey that rose up and spoke about newsclick's founder and the alleged links with a US media mogul, the links then to the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party's agenda. Allegedly, newsclick has been running propaganda of Chinese Communist Party here in India is the allegation the BJP is making. Now there is a new dimension to this entire controversy because the BJP has now unearthed this email trail between the duo, which is Prabir Purkayastha, the founder of newsclick, and Neville Roy Singham, who is this media mogul in the US based in several other countries. What does this email really talk about? Let's get you this email that is now being circulated by the BJP. It's an alleged email between Neville Roy Singham and newsclick that is now surfaced that the BJP alleges is proof of the allegations that they are making. BJP claims that Neville Roy Singham tutored the likes of Prabir Purkayastha and several other people who are owners or founders of media organizations like newsclick. BJP then going on to allege that newsclick founder was tutored on the propaganda of the CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party, and their agenda was being furthered by organizations like newsclick is the allegation the BJP is making. The BJP alleges that this email dates back to March 2020. This was when India was just feeling the heat as far as the COVID crisis was concerned. Remember, March 2020 is also when the lockdown happened here in India. The BJP has then alleged that this mail written was to show the CCP or the Chinese Communist Party in good light, and that really was the agenda of organizations like newsclick here in India. My colleague Arun Dhanta joining us, getting us the latest as far as this entire controversy goes. Now, Arun, we've seen the kind of allegations that have taken place, the BJP opening this new front as far as the email exchange is concerned, but it's all about the allegations that Nishikant Dubey made inside the parliament. The Congress wants an apology of why they are being linked to this entire controversy, isn't it?
Well, see, BJP has been making their stand very clear that this is not something which is a new revelation for them. It may be a new revelation for the world, but for them it's not new. It's not a new revelation. Why they are saying? Because when Enforcement Directorate raided newsclick's office few years back, at that point in time, Congress party along with few other opposition parties have been raising this question that this is a mere targeting by Enforcement Directorate and government to target those individuals and those news organizations who are actually portraying the real picture of the country, who's actually showing the country that what exactly is happening. Now, what BJP is saying is that there is a complete mail trail between Neville Roy Singham and the founder of newsclick, and in fact in that mail trail it is mentioned that in which in fact the founder of newsclick writes to Neville Roy Singham and asking him about the details of the vaccination and other the production of the PPE kits etc. by China, so that he can make comparison with the countries like US and India, where they could show that when India and US had a lot of time to actually create that infrastructure and all other things which is needed during that corona times, how China actually in a very short span of time managed to create that infrastructure. So he wanted to show that contrast. And also, in fact, BJP has been maintaining this fact that there's funding which has come from Neville Roy Singham's side, who's known for his backing by China. He was getting regular funds from China, and therefore it was in the income tax department's official records that the investment had come from Neville Roy Singham's side in the newsclicks. Now what they are saying is that now it is time for the Congress party to actually accept this and tell the world what is reality. And in fact, they are also coming out with in fact past instances where we are saying that Rahul Gandhi is somebody who's known for hobnobbing with Chinese, especially at that point in time when they were citing the example of Doklam. When Doklam happened, Rahul Gandhi was having dinner with the Chinese diplomats. So when Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi had visited China, there was a fund which came to Rajiv Gandhi Foundation's bank account. So various other things which they are putting out in the public domain at this juncture and demanding opposition parties and Congress party to come clear on this.
Doubts over the ED raids that took place on newsclick 2 years ago. That's another link of why the BJP has been putting the Congress in the dock. Arun, do stay on with me, because a storm was triggered by an NYT report that came out 2 days ago. The storm echoed both inside the parliament and outside. Listen in to some of those reactions.
2017 में जब डोकलाम हो रहा था, उस डोकलाम के समय सर ये चाइनीज के साथ बातचीत कर रहे थे। मेरा भारत सरकार से आग्रह है कि जितनी भी फंडिंग हुई है कांग्रेस को, जितनी भी चाइना ने फंडिंग की है, जांच की जाए।
अगर मैं कहूं तो कांग्रेस, चीन, न्यूज़क्लिक सभी एक भारत विरोधी गर्भनाल से जुड़े हुए हैं।
हम तो पहले सोचते थे सिर्फ कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी चाइना और रशिया के इशारे पे चलती है, फिर ध्यान में आया 2007-8 में कांग्रेस के परमानेंटली युवा नेता भी चाइना के इशारे पे चलते हैं, उनके साथ एमओयू करते हैं, उनके कहने पे, उनके इशारों पे नीतियां बनाते हैं।
Utterly shocking for a number of reasons. First of all, the acting chair had asked ministers to lay papers on the table. But Nishikant Dube's mic was switched on, and his mic was on throughout his rant, where he made defamatory and libelous accusations against the Congress party and against Rahul Gandhi. That has to be expunged from the record, and we have unanimously signed a letter demanding that the Speaker should expunge this, delete these words.
और सदन के अंदर जब मंत्रियों को बुलाए जाते हैं माइक पे, तो मंत्री की माइक नहीं चलते, लेकिन वो सदस्यों की माइक चलते, जिस सदस्यों ने एक ओछी तरीके से और घटिया बयान पेश कर रहे थे, जिसका कोई आधार नहीं, कोई तथ्य नहीं है।
Shifting focus now to more breaking news that's coming in, and this is coming in from Karnataka, where there seems to be a tussle between the state government and the civic body in Bengaluru, which is the BBMP. The BBMP contractors have now halted all works, all projects, because their dues are pending for last 28 months. Remember, just a short while ago, right after the Congress government came into power, the Congress had come out and said that they have issued an order to withhold all payments for projects that were sanctioned during the previous BJP's regime. All of them are going to be under investigation, is what the Congress had said. Listen in to what the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka now has to say.
ಗುತ್ತಿಗೆದಾರರು ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರನೂ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಯಾರು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದವ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ತಡೆ ಕೇಳ್ತದೆ? ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಇದೆ. 2 ವರ್ಷ 3 ವರ್ಷ ಕಾಯ್ದಿಲ್ವಾ? 25,000 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬಿಲ್ಗಳಿದೆ ರೀ. ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ 600 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ. 600 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ಡಿದೆ. ಈಗ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಇರೋದು 400-500 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಬ್ಲ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮೇಲ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಈ ಡಿ.ಕೆ. ಕುಮಾರ್ ಎದುರುದಿಲ್ಲ.
Ritu, my colleague, now joining us from Bengaluru, getting us more perspective on this. Now, the tussle between the BBMP, the civic body in Bengaluru, and the state government is only intensifying now. One, there was a halting of all projects that was done by the contractors. Now, there are allegations that are being made against the Deputy Chief Minister of corruption as bribes as well.
Well, very true. You see now, right after the BBMP contractors met the JDS leader, also the former Chief Minister of Karnataka, H.D. Kumaraswamy, and alleged that this particular government is also, in fact, allegedly asking them for the bribes to clear their pending bills. And for that reason, they had halted their works across the city until and unless the government will not release them their fund. They will not go on with their projects, is what has now been said by the BBMP contractors. In fact, the contractors are also apologizing to the people of the city, saying that anything that is actually taking place is all because of the government not releasing their pending bills, and it is really putting them into a fix. And also there's a tremendous pressure as well, because they too have to take care of the family, and the huge bills are actually pending from the government side. But however, needs to be seen, because we do know that earlier the state government in fact took and halt on all those kind of work projects that were carried out by the previous BJP government. And later point, the Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah also issued one more notification saying that that particular order will be withdrawn. But now the ministers will have to ensure that all those bills that will be cleared will actually first be scrutinized, and only then those bills will clear, because what they are saying is that they too are also in fact reporting a lot of irregularities during the clearance of the pending bill. So yes, the government does not want to take any sort of a chance. So that's the reason they have halted those pending bills as well. But needs to be seen now that a lot of pressure being mounted on the state government. How is it the state government is going to take this forward? But also remember importantly that when BJP was in the power earlier in the state, there was this 40% corruption allegations that were made on the BJP, which actually led them to lose the assembly elections as well. Now, right after that, the Congress party has come to the power here in the state with just 2 months, and now there are corruption charges that are actually being made on the state, on the Congress government as well here. But needs to be seen now how is that the government is going to handle this situation.
Absolutely. Also, given that corruption was the plank that the Congress had fought this election on against the previous government, it'll be interesting to see how they battle the storm. Do keep a track of the reactions coming in from there. But for the moment, Ritu, thank you so much for getting us the latest. There's much more lined up for you here on Nation at 5. But for now, it's time for a quick break. Back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Brought to you by
माननीय सदस्यगण, ये महत्वपूर्ण डिबेट है और महत्वपूर्ण डिबेट में आपके माननीय सदस्य ने पूरी बात कही है, सबने पूरी ध्यानपूर्वक सुनी है। अब निशिकांत जी बोल रहे हैं आप इस तरीके से डिस्टर्बेंस करना ठीक नहीं है। सदन की तरफ बाली निशिकांत जी।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, अभी मणिपुर की बड़ी चर्चा हुई। सबसे पहले तो मैं इस अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के विरोध के लिए खड़ा हुआ। मैं अपने पार्टी के नेतृत्वकर्ता आदरणीय मोदी जी और पूरे पार्टी का शुक्रगुजार हूं कि इतने महत्वपूर्ण बिल पर पार्टी ने मुझे बोलने के लिए खड़ा किया। अभी मैंने गौरव गोगोई को सुना सर,
एक मिनट माननीय सदस्य प्लीज बैठिए, प्लीज बैठिए, बैठिए। नो कॉन्फिडेंस में चर्चा नहीं करना चाहते आप? बैठिए, मैं बताता हूं आपको। माननीय सदस्यगण, नो, माननीय सदस्यगण, अब प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज, माननीय सदस्यगण, आपको पता है कि लोकसभा और राज्यसभा टीवी को मिलाकर संसद टीवी कर दिया है, ठीक है ना? एक मिनट, पहले संसद टीवी नहीं था तो लोकसभा लाइव होता था और राज्यसभा अलग से लाइव होता था। आपने कोई विशेष ध्यान में डाला है, मैं उसको संज्ञान में लूंगा। प्लीज, आप एक मिनट, अधीर रंजन प्लीज, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट, एक मिनट। प्लीज, मैंने व्यवस्था दे दी है। बंद हो गया सर, बंद हो गया।
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
फिर शुरू हो गया।
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 here on CNN News 18 with me, Poonam Burde. Now, let's get you details of what exactly the probe status is as far as the violence in Nuh in Haryana is concerned. Remember, last week, 7 lives were lost in Nuh in Haryana after violence broke out during a rally that was held by the VHP and other Hindu groups. Now, the investigation details are emerging and CNN News 18 is getting you those very details. Let's now take a look of how exactly social media was used as far as this entire conspiracy went, the planning went. This is what the government is saying. It's not me who's saying this. Let's put out that government report for you and get you details of what the analysis has revealed. The analysis has revealed that this was orchestrated on social media. The social media was used as a tool to ensure that people are mobilized on ground. Hashtags were created to spark unrest in Nuh and several other districts of Haryana, where we saw violence not just on that particular day, but in the coming few days as well. The potential reach of the posts was over 3 billion is what this analysis has now revealed. There were negative sentiments of over 67% that were circulated as far as this entire plot went. The age group between 25 to 34 is what most of the active users were, who were using these kind of hashtags to try and push forth the kind of narrative that they were doing so. Most of these feeds originated from India, but there were certain tweets that came in from Canada as well. So there was an outside attempt to try and fuel this, is also what the state believes as far as the analysis of this investigation goes. There were anti-nationals, the government says are anti-nationals, that were instigating the public is also a revelation that has been made in this particular report. Social media giants like Twitter, Facebook have now been asked to delete these tweets and block these handles so that future fomenting of trouble is avoided. Those are the revelations that have come to the fore as far as the government analysis goes. Ankur Sharma, my colleague, getting us more details of what exactly this analysis was about, when did the government conduct it, and Ankur, I want to ask you this. We now know the kind of revelations that have come to the fore from this investigation, but what is the time frame really that the government was looking at? The tweets that we're talking about, the reach that we're talking about, what was the time frame that the government was looking for?
Yeah, so basically everything started after 72 hours. The report was prepared by a unit of a central agency which is responsible for anything, whatever happening on cyberspace. So that agency, that unit prepared a report after 72 hours, probably 3 days after the incident took place. And in that report, they found that not even only Canada, but there were tweets from US, which was approximately 8.5%, and there were tweets from Canada, Pakistan, and other countries as well. And the total potential reach of these tweets was approximately 300 crores, which means every day almost the reach was 100 crores of these hashtags, which were used by certain people. Several tweets after the investigation, it was found that some tweets are in fact spreading the false news, and after that it was found that yes, it is required tweets also. So government also asked Twitter to delete a few tweets, which include the tweet from a sitting MP, a global news media organization, and few social media influencers as well. So the total reach of these tweets and hashtags was 300 crore, which was very, very huge in terms of days after which the analysis was done.
Right, so that analysis was done by the state government, the investigation of which has thrown up these facts that we are bringing to our viewers. Do stay on with me, Ankur, because there's another facet of this entire investigation that we've also accessed here on CNN News 18. There was an audio tape that was circulated on WhatsApp, which also was believed to be the trigger of this entire violence. Let's take a look at what this audio tape really was. The police in Haryana claim that there was an audio tape that uncovered the entire planning of how it was orchestrated. It reportedly was posted on a WhatsApp group and then circulated among hundreds of people. The sender allegedly asked members on this particular WhatsApp group to fight for the community. There were messages that were tried and sent to whip up sentiments, to whip up passion of those members who were part of this particular group. A temple was allegedly targeted after that audio tape went viral as well. That's what the Haryana police now believes. The VHP Yatra, during which violence broke out, was supposed to end at the Shringar Gauri temple. That is where the violence broke out. All of that, the location was shared on the WhatsApp type group is what the Haryana police now believes. Cops are now launching a manhunt to identify the person who sent this particular audio and how it spiraled out of control, and the situation then eventually led to the loss of 7 lives. Anshul, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Now, Anshul, this audio tape seems to be the clincher as far as the Haryana police's investigation goes.
So yes, these proofs are now being collected by the Haryana police from the people that they have taken into custody. At this point, remember, more than 170 people have already been arrested, and now evidences, digital evidences such as these are being found out from the people, from the phones of these people who have been taken into custody. So yes, at this point, the police is looking for the person who had recorded these messages and had asked other people to go ahead and fight, hit the streets and make sure that they fight for the community, and how important it was. And in fact, there are call recordings in which the person has even gone to the extent of saying that there is no point, there is no love if you don't love your community, and how your children and you'll have to give up on your children as well as your wife and come out and fight for the community. So things like these were circulated at the very point when the initial yatra began. But yes, there were violence that broke out at places that were at least 20 to 25 kilometers or probably 30 kilometers away from the location where the initial riots had started. So this actually tells that there was some sort of planning that had happened in this entire case, and that is what the police is revealing by every passing day. So yes, in the next few days we are expecting that more details are going to come out as to which would actually establish this fact that yes, this was planned and the riots that broke out were not organic. Now, who is responsible for these riots? That is something that is a part of the investigation. But yes, another big question that still remains, that even after such chats were happening on social media, the police had no idea whatsoever that something like this could happen, and the laxity of the police and the intelligence failure that the police has faced is also something that is very, very questionable, that still hasn't been answered by either by the administration or by the government. So in the next few days we are expecting these answers to come to the fore, and finally it would be established who was responsible from either sides to make sure that at least 6 people have lost their life in Nuh, 2 have lost their life in Gurugram. Who is responsible for this? We will probably get the answer in the next few weeks.
Right, the investigation not only has to happen into the violence and whom orchestrated or who masterminded it, the investigation also needs to happen on multiple fronts as far as alleged laxity of the police goes. Let's now take you through what the High Court, the Punjab and Haryana High Court said yesterday, because it's not just opposition parties that are gunning for the state government, that are questioning the alleged laxity by the police and by the state. Some scathing observations were made by the Punjab and Haryana High Court as far as the bulldozer action by the state government is concerned. The High Court yesterday went on to say that whether ethnic cleansing is being conducted by the state, this was a question that was posed by the High Court to the state government. Were the buildings that were being bulldozed of a particular community, were only those being brought down, was another pointed question that the High Court asked the state government yesterday. Was any notice or order issued by the state before demolitions? Remember, in the aftermath of the Nuh violence, we've seen several homes of accused that were demolished. The state government said that this is how they were going to bring the perpetrators to book. But is this legal is the question that many are asking. The High Court then also raised doubts over the state government, especially the state Home Minister Anil Vij's remark where he said this was an ilaj, it was a solution to a problem, it was the solution to this disease that we're seeing in the state is what Anil Vij had come out and said. To which the Punjab and Haryana High Court came out and said that power tends to corrupt and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That was an observation that came to the fore from the High Court yesterday. Questions are being raised over the conduct of the police, over the conduct of the state government, whether there was intel failure, whether there was laxity on part of the police. All of that is now under the scanner. We'll get you more details on that here on CNN News 18, but for now we're shifting focus to the other big story that we're tracking here, and that comes from Jammu and Kashmir, where this would be seen as a major step as far as delivering justice to several Kashmiri Pundit families is concerned. After more than 3 decades, we're now going to be seeing the Jammu and Kashmir police reopen the investigation into the murder of Justice Ganju, which happened in 1989, that was seen as the trigger of the violence, the ethnic cleansing that we saw in Jammu and Kashmir, which then led to the exodus of thousands of Kashmiri Pundits. The investigation has now been opened up. It is the first sign of justice for many others. In many other cases is also what several people in the valley and outside believe. this is a first step as far as delivering justice is concerned. There's much more to go because several of these cases have not seen a logical conclusion as far as the legal hurdle is concerned. Remember, there are several hurdles that have been passed by many of these cases for lack of evidence or for lack of political will, as many would call it. These cases then went to cold storage, but at least as far as Justice Ganju's murder is concerned, that has now been reopened by the police. My colleague Ishan joining us, getting us more details. Ishan, what has been the reaction from the community, from the politicians in the valley over this decision?
Well, Kashmiri Pundit community is happy that finally some step has been taken by the government, because if you remember, whenever there was any issue pertaining to Kashmiri Pundits, they have been raising demands of reopening all the investigation and cases of those who were killed during the 90s when the militancy broke out in Kashmir for the first time. The former judge Ganju was assassinated in broad daylight in Srinagar, and after that there was complete chaos in Jammu and Kashmir. The government was thrown in toss and everything was difficult. Law and order management became really difficult, and many such cases where Kashmiri Pundits claim not even FIRs were registered, and leave alone the investigation. But finally today, yesterday actually, SIA came out with a release asking people to come in front of them and tell them any event, story, or if they recall any memory, or if they were present there, they can come before them, and then they can come before the SIA, which is State Investigation Agency, which has been formed on the lines of NIA. Now, we have seen, in several years that SIA has been formed to investigate these cases, also indicating that there will be more such cases in coming days, which will be handed over to SIA, particularly the killings of high-profile killings, be it the Sikhs, Muslims and Hindus. Those all cases will be handed over to SIA, but general public will also be asked to come before them. So yes, the community is happy that finally there is some justice being delivered. At the same time, one has to see that how long does it take for the investigation agencies to conclude the case.
Absolutely. It's 3 decades too late is what many would say, but at least it's the first step in the right direction. We have to leave it at that. Ishan, thank you so much for getting us the latest. With that, it's a wrap from my side here on Nation at 5. Anusha joins you with Viewpoint next.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. Our top focus this hour on Viewpoint tonight is the no confidence motion debate which is ensuing on the floor of the House. It was a day full of barbs and repeated attacks coming in from the opposition side. On one side, the BJP asked the Congress party as to why did Rahul Gandhi not begin the debate on the floor of the House, and on the other side, the opposition questioned that why is it that Prime Minister is not present. Well, we'll wait to hear from many such big speakers on the floor of the House. But one thing is abundantly clear, that as far as the number game is concerned, this no confidence motion is bound to fail. Then what is it that the opposition seeks to generate? Perhaps the right political noises and a political discourse that INDIA wants in its favor. We are very close to the crucial assembly elections in the Hindi heartland. And who can forget the big battle of 2024? Much more to follow up in the next 2 days. That remains our focus here on CNN News 18, and that's the big topic to be debated on Viewpoint.